Hello everyone, my name is Florian Gruber and today I'm gonna show you how I mount my foil and all the best tips and tricks how to tune it and trim it. So first of all, when you receive the mast, when it's brand new, you have to check if it's fitting your board. So I take the sticker off. I have my board here on the side. And because there are so many different title boxes out there, it's always hard to see if it's fitting or not, because every box is different. So I see my one is a bit tight. For that, I have already some sandpaper here. When you're sanding your box, don't take your hand, because otherwise it's not straight. So we have this nice block. Put the sandpaper straight on it, and when you start sanding there, it's always a smooth and straight surface instead of just taking your hand. Also pretty useful is to measure it in between, because when you take off too much, it's not that stiff in your box, and for racing you want to have maximum stiffness, so some useful tools would be really helpful. So I check the measurement here. It's 16.4, and when I check it on my board, it's 15.8. So I have to sand a little bit down, but do it carefully, otherwise it's super loose in your box and you will lose performance and stiffness. So after some sanding, I didn't put it down on the exactly size like on the board, because after using it a few times it will always rub a little bit. So I have it a little bit thicker. I have it on 16.2. Even the box shows a bit smaller, but for measurement tolerance and just to have it as tight as possible, I give a little bit of a gap. And now if I put it in, it's nice and tight, so for racing it will perfectly sit in one position and doesn't move. Why I mount my mast first? Because if I put first the wings on top and then push it somewhere in the dirt, there's getting sand and dirt in the insets. So first I put the mast in the board, so that's fixed, and now I can work on the wings pretty easy. So for not destroying the insets or your screws, because on the beach a lot of dust and sand is flying around, I always use a little bit of Loctite at the front of the screw, so they will stay smooth and will go smooth in and out, even after a long time. So I always tighten the front screw a little bit, then the back screw, so the mast goes in straight and doesn't get any angle, so you're perfectly on zero. Good. Before I mount the front wing on the mast, I have to put the back wing on. So we send the foil out with this red dots on, so you don't make a mistake on which side, so they match perfectly together. Then we have the screwing kit. Also here, there's another dot to have the bolt right in there. So, and I don't have the wrong side. So push it in, make it nice and straight. And the small screw comes from the front. It's sitting in the box to the mast. I just tighten it a little bit, and then I can still straighten it that it's in perfect position, and then I tighten it completely so everything is strong together. Done. And now if you have them all in the same position, you don't have any edges, it's super smooth and no drag in the water. The bolt, just in case when you lose the point, you always can see it. Like if you check it, you have a smaller part, a more narrow part and a wider part, and also the screw is not 100% straight, it's a little bit up, so it fits perfectly in here, and then just do it the right way in. Otherwise you have some small edges and that wouldn't be good for your performance. After that, when my wing is completely mounted, I put it on, push a little bit so it's nice, straight and tight. Then again, Loctite on my both screws, putting them in. And here's the same. Don't tighten one first. So like I put both in, and then you always change between both screws. So, front one, back one. So it will get in the box completely straight. These two screws I always tighten up after my first session. So when I went out for 1 hour, half an hour, I go back to the beach and tighten them up again, because you will get a little bit of more pressure on the wings. So it moves a little bit more in. So just tighten them up again, and then everything is locked. So the big advantage of the foil. So I'm riding on the water and I want to change my back wing. In the past, it was always like you had to unscrew anything. And now, with our system, you can just take an Allen key and change the angle of the back wing. So I can do small adjustments really quick. But first, before I go on my first session, I show you how I trim it. You need to find out what's your favorite setup. I have now one setup I really like. So we have the bottom of the whole foil. It's turned around, the board on the ground. And this one I will tighten up completely till the maximum. So, and then I reduce it from the maximum half of a rotation. So that's my preference. I always put on my first session at a new spot, new water quality, because I knew, okay, that fits perfectly at my home spot or the spots I have been the last few weeks. Then I tighten the other screw just to lock it and nothing is loose. Okay, perfectly. So I go for my first session. I see the water is a bit more turbulent. I don't have enough lift. Maybe there's some seaweed in the water. I come back on shore. So I loosen the bottom one again. And I know my preference was half of a rotation and I want some more lift, so I close the screw for another quarter. So I have now in total I just reduce it a quarter of a rotation, and now I have more lift. As well, you can work on your foot strap positions. If you have too much lift, you move the straps more to the front. If you don't have enough lift, you move the straps to the back, so the mast position switches in relation to your body. Okay, that's how you mount your foil and trim everything in the beginning, and the rest is on you. Give it a try, trim it a little bit, test it, and find your sweet setup for the competitions. On the beach you will always have some dust, sun cream fingers, everything, so your foil gets dirty or not a clean surface anymore. For that we highly recommend silicone remover or soap water, even more soap water because it's better for the environment and we all want to have a clean and safe nature. What you shouldn't use is acetone or high percentage alcohol, which is super aggressive, because our foils are already painted and sanded for you, so you have the race finish already on it and you don't want to destroy it, and otherwise you attack the paint. So on the foil we just use high corrosion resistant material, but it can still happen that you can get from some dust or other material some flash rust on there, but you can really easily remove it with lemon juice or Coke. So it's pretty easy to clean it, and it's just on the surface and it will not attack the material, so you don't need to be scared about that. So it can always happen that you have some crashes on your foil or you hit it somewhere. So for maintenance and repair of your foil, you can check out the IKA webpage. And there in the class rules you will find everything about it, how you can repair and what is allowed. So make clear you do the right stuff, don't do something illegal. So after a long day on the water or a long competition, everything is super tight, all screws are tightened up really hard. I'm gonna show you now how to unscrew everything and unmount it. So first I put everywhere the covers on, so you don't want to destroy your foil or your hands by smashing on it. Okay, first I dismount the wing from the mast. And when you were riding a lot on the foil, everything is really pushed together and hard to get off. So before I just smash it off, I bending a little bit, I take both wingtips and just push a little bit on the left, on the right, so it will get loose again. Then I put my foot on the board and then one smash is most time enough. Put straight again back in the screws, because you don't want to get any dirt in there. Otherwise you have big trouble next time mounting your foil. So I put them straight in again till the end, so nothing gets in there. Next step, I'm gonna dismount the back wing. For that I have to open first the small screws for the angle in the back, so that they are not pushing against the wing. Okay. Then taking that one screw out of the box in there, and now I can easily remove the bolt. Sometimes it goes really easy, if not I always use my feet and push against it, or you put the wing between your legs and then it's easy going. Everything is dismounted, so when you're riding a lot in salt water, I would highly recommend just to clean it with some fresh water after the session, or when you pack it for a longer time for the flight or you have a longer break. So everything is clean packed, and next time you're gonna use it, everything works fine again and you can enjoy your session. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial about mounting, cleaning, everything on a race foil, and yeah, enjoy it, have fun on your next race session and go fast.